Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes.
Here we are again. Welcome to our podcast.
That is right. We are back, Nonprofit Network. We are back. My name is Shelby Stokes.
Kelly Schenfeld.
Hello, fellow fundraiser fanatics. Polly Schenfeld here.
That is right. And we are entering the holidays. Well, I mean, it is December 5 as of today. I believe the first night of Hanukkah is this Friday.
Yeah, I kind of had that a little messed up.
Anyway, you have the dates written down. Pretty sure those were the right dates.
It was probably a wrong year. But
yeah.
It was fun to...
The wrong year.
I think it may have been. That might be the original Hanukkah.
It could be.
It
The very first inaugural.
Anyway, I didn't...
Inaugural Hanukkah.
Inaugural. That's hard to say.
Hanukkah!
That's hard to say. Inaugural Hanukkah.
I didn't have the heart to correct the man.
No, it's hard to. He's 90 years old. You gotta let it roll.
You know what? If he's making up holidays, I'm here for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's earned that.
He
A
has earned
lifetime of strife. You name the holiday, baby.
Well, these Festival of Trees have been making us feel very, very Christmassy. You know,
Right.
you're surrounded by all the cool different trees.
And let's talk about what those are quickly. What is a Festival of
A
Trees?
Festival of Trees is basically they have designers and they sell the trees for the organization. So we come in and they have packages with them. Like, for example, some trees will be like, well, we sold one, offered one this last weekend that was a tree that had all of these really cool clamshell ornaments on it that were tissue paper in old photos of tissue paper, and then they shellacked that on a clamshell. And with that, there's also a trip to Newport and 18 holes of golf and things like that. So it's really a palatable tree for somebody to spend quite a bit of money on, and then that money goes to the organization. So it's a cool way of taking Christmas and the season and spinning it into charity.
Yeah,
giving.
so essentially you have a designer,
Yep.
they pick a theme, and then they procure and design the tree decoration-wise as well as item-wise and put it in the live auction.
Yep.
So, I mean, one thing that was always sparked us during Festival of Tree season is like the cool, innovative new thing,
Right.
which sounds pretty cool with the shell tree you gave an example of.
Yeah.
That is unique. I don't think I've ever seen one
Yeah,
like
it was
that
really,
before.
really unique. Yeah, it was old school pictures of Newport Beach,
Nice.
like 1950s.
Wow.
The tight shorts that the dudes used to wear.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that place had a vibe in the 1950s.
Oh, man.
We missed the window on Newport,
did.
baby.
Oh, man, right?
Oh.
They're
But there was
tiny.
even a year, there was even a year where we did the upside down trees. Do you remember that? That was
That
5,
was
6 years
cool.
ago.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. So it's always something different. But the best thing about the festivals is there's a story that is behind every tree. So you get, you hope that there's a story behind every tree because that's the tree that's going to sell. So you get, there was a tree at our auction that the wife had died of breast cancer 3 years back. And her son and her husband put this tree together to thank the community that helped her through cancer. And that tree really took off because of the story. So having a story next to your tree or picking somebody that has a story and designing a tree for them is really your best benefit. You know, just to decorate a tree, you spend $1,000 decorating a tree and it goes for $1,100, doesn't feel right. That's the thing you run into at the festivals is sometimes those trees don't bring the value that they should bring. But yeah, it was it's a nice way to feel the spirit.
I like the creativity. You know, you get the story that you're talking about doesn't really apply to this particular auction that I do. It's more about the stories of the designers. Might have a mother or whatever, but we don't really elaborate on that too much. There's a story behind Sally's mom, and she was the inspiration for this tree. But you know, it's the overall mission of this organization that pulls at everybody's heartstrings.
Yeah.
You know which one it is.
See, that's difficult to do with a hospital,
It is. It is.
because
We
there's
had
multiple missions.
One tree we had a Barbie themed tree.
was
Barbie
very
was
cool.
like the biggest thing
That was
on the
neat.
planet this year.
Yes, it was.
And it took up a whole corner, about like this. I mean, it was huge. We had a whole table of ladies that were dressed in Barbie outfit with one guy, Ken. I had fun with him.
Lucky man.
I said, "You're on your own, dude." There's a new thing out called a tree globe.
Tree globe.
It spins the tree.
Well, it's like a little an air pump fills up the globe. There's a tree inside of it.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's indoor or outdoor.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And
Outdoor? You could put a tree outdoor.
outside in the glow.
Imagine that. Putting a tree outdoors.
I heard it.
Who'd have thought that? Whose stupid idea was that?
Ooh.
How brilliant. You can't put this tree inside. Let's wrap it in plastic. Yeah. And we wonder why the aliens don't want to say hello. Yeah, we wonder why they don't want to make contact.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it folds up into this little 2x2 bag.
That's what
In
they
about
say.
5
It
minutes.
never folds
I
up.
saw the bag.
The first time you get it, it does. Always the first time.
Always
it comes
the
through.
first time. Yes.
It's like
you
the
get
10.
it. It's in the 2x2 thing, and then you open it up, and you can never get it back in there.
So did that tree with all the Barbies raise a pile of money?
The Barbie one did decent. The one that did really good was, it was a tree that was autumn. No, it was a s'mores tree. S'mores chocolate. But they had a trip to this really cool tree house. And they had a picture of the tree house, and I Googled it and looked at it. This tree house, you get to go spend 3 or 4 days there, is awesome.
Does it have a turlet?
Oh yeah, it's got everything. And you're literally up in a tree, and it's just all rustic and $16,000.
I mean, those tree house experiences are not cheap. We looked at one recently for the spring. Yeah, you're paying all the money to stay there.
Really?
Yeah. It's cool.
It looks really, really cool.
Yeah. It's neat.
We had about 17 trees. We brought the tree numbers down a little bit this year. Had good energy. It felt good.
Nice.
It felt good.
The only thing I don't like about the festivals is there is a pressure to sell that designer gave their heart and soul on it. And when you sell it for $1,500, that's tough.
Well, I mean,
It is. I don't like
Ah.
yeah, but I mean,
is
the
tough.
game is changing, and that's part of the reason I'm so drawn to this podcast. We were just asked, why do we do this podcast? And it's because the fundraising space is changing so rapidly that it's hard to keep up with. We have a couple ideas that we just saw that we want to share with you guys in a minute. But what you're essentially saying is, you buy a whole bunch of stuff and put it in the tree and then hope it brings at or above value. And right now, the tangible good that you can go buy down the street is so difficult to sell at auction. It has to be a story. It has to be experience. It has to be a theme. Because if it doesn't have that, there is no reason that they can't go on and buy that barbecue tomorrow at 20% discount off of Amazon.
Yeah, the
so
stories
you as
have
the
to sell
designer
tree.
have to carry it through a story.
Through a story.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is all the trees that we had this weekend that had a story, like one of them was a kid that had died. He was a gamer, and they did a tree, and
Tell me you got a picture of the gamer tree.
no, it was a gamer tree last year. This year, they sold a camping tree because he enjoyed camping as well. But, there was that connect, the breast cancer connect. You have to have a connect in order for these trees to really sell. Really, I agree with you that if you just bring a bunch of stuff in and sell a tree, they can go to Amazon and buy it all.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
No.
You don't want that. The trees that sell.
And let me back up, right? I mean, if people have the opportunity to give face value for those items and help the hospital, it's going to happen.
Right.
But what's probably not going to happen is you're not going to take items valued at $2,000 and raise $50,000 on those.
No.
The story will carry that. When you're leveraging dollars against goods, it's never going to go as well.
But if you also were to take that same tree that had all those toys and all that Barbie stuff, and you were to say this is a donated tree, you're educating your buyers, your clientele, that we are in the mode of giving. So yes, you're going to bid on this tree, but it's going to be donated to the local children's emergency room department or the autistic department or whatever department. And that brings a different buyer as well, because
Yes,
those are the givers that are going to come, and they will then spend $20,000 on that tree because they know, number one, they're not getting that tree. They are donating it, so they're not having to mark off anything.
Yeah.
They are donating it straight to the hospital. So if you can't come up with a story, come up with a donation tree. That also inspires giving. It really does. Because at these auctions, it is moving right now towards that. It used to be auction, you get a deal. It is moving towards, I'm here to donate to the community. That is changing. more so than it has been in the past. I have seen.
Yeah.
You know, we sold 3 trees last weekend, or on Friday, excuse me. Gosh, it feels, yeah, that was last weekend. It's all a blur. We sold an emergency room tree. We sold a pediatric department tree. And it was just tons of little baby blankets. And the thing went for $22,000,
Wow.
you know? And then the emergency room tree, teddy bears and lots of that goes right to the emergency room. Those are the ones that bring the 35, the 40 grand. Those are the trees that sell the big numbers.
Yeah.
If it's got a place setting with it, or if it's got just fancy ornaments or some stemware or whatever, those are not good. They're beautiful,
Right.
but it's a
Yeah,
different
it's
buyer.
the appearance, because they are almost overwhelmingly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
you go look at all these trees and, you're trying to make notes on what's in each one. It just becomes overwhelming.
I'll give you a new take on holidays and donating. One of the doctors from this previous weekend, he's always been, he was in the video a year prior, and wonderful man. And he was engaged to this just hoot of a gal, and they got married. And they asked all of their wedding guests to bring a nice bottle of wine, not a cheap bottle, a nice bottle of wine, and we were going to donate it to the wine pole at the Providence auction.
And this was for their wedding, right?
This is their wedding.
Yeah.
So
That's a great idea.
It is. And it's something that you can use for, if you have a chairperson that is well known in the community, have them have a wine party or something along those lines where every guest that they invite brings them a bottle of wine, and that is how you supply your wine tree. You can also up the cost of your wine bottles at that point because you're getting quality wine.
That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that connection,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
There's the connection back to
Yep.
the community, back to the event.
And they're not just living it that night, they're living it before that.
Hmm. Another thing that I've seen successful is when, like, staff members of the organization have their own tree
Yeah.
that they designed, because there's that connection back to the organization. Hey, this was done by all of our staff, everybody in pediatrics or everybody in obstetrics or whatever it is.
You could do a thank you tree too for people that have received the benefit of the auction years past. That would sell.
You think?
I do.
Yeah.
I think each person brought one item to put with that tree, and you could really pump that story up.
Yeah, and I think we talk about the different themes and the different trees. Like, so much of that is the theme too, right? I mean, like your Barbie tree being notable and wow factor. Someone's gonna want that, right? So I think it's I think it's a cool tradition in terms of like variation on the platform. We're seeing different things that are trendy, like the Barbie tree. And you really just got to find something that resonates with the community and then really focus on it to
And
the best
that,
of your ability.
I thought for sure that one was going to ring a bell.
Right.
No. I mean, it did, but not like I thought.
Yeah.
With the popularity of Barbie and all the
But
hubbub
we
around
don't.
Barbie.
Yeah, but when we go into these evenings, we don't know that community. I mean, we come to know it if we've been there for X amount of years, right? But we don't know the community like the people there know the community.
Right.
So, something that I would think would ring a bell, I don't know the connect.
Right.
You just never know.
You just
right?
never know.
I never thought
Yeah.
the one that did ring a bell was going to. That was the furthest thing from my mind, but
Yeah.
it just happened.
And so much of that is like community based that you'll never know. Like so and
Right.
so is so and so. The pediatric department
Yeah.
lost one of their favorite doctors because they moved on or retired.
But
what I mean? Like
ask-
that kind of stuff.
If you're the auctioneer or if you're the ringman, ask those questions because they may not think that it is necessarily information you need. So ask those questions. That's how we found that tree in St. George.
Right.
You got to ask, do you mind me asking you what the story is behind this tree? What is your drive behind this? And then the story comes to light and then you can bring it to the community. Once you can bring the story to the community, then you have something you can sell. Because you're no longer selling the tree, you are selling the story.
Right. And as long as these festivals have been happening as many decades, there needs to be a new twist.
Yeah.
There needs to be something new.
Yeah.
something that's instead of the same old, same old. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but it's difficult to keep it top of mind, keep it new, keep
Yep.
it fresh, and tying them into a person's personal story, a child. Unfortunately, it's talking about somebody's demise, right? Some child passed away, and it becomes a sad story,
Right.
but still it lifts it.
But that is why we are there. We are there because there has been a sad story and it hasn't been able to be helped, or and so we're looking for that not to happen again. And so I think that's the thing why those sad stories are useful.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's our mission is to convey what's going on in the community and how best to support the community.
Right.
In terms of like new ideas, we had one of our auctioneers, shout out to Brad Caldwell, submit a few that he saw recently, and one of them is like a variation on a buy-in party for the silent auction or during the cocktail reception area. And essentially what they would do is they would sell little trinkets, and if you bought one of these trinkets or supported the organization through a donation, you then would be put into a raffle, and the raffle would be an assortment of random items, consisting of wine, alcohols, different things of that nature. And every 15, 20 minutes, they would draw one of those tickets and give it away.
That's fantastic.
So it's almost like a door prize thing, but it's a pay to play. And then it's a buy once, and then your name is resubmitted to the hat every time. Or the
Sure.
yeah, the drawing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So I think it's kind of a neat idea, right? And I ran into this on one of my recent events where we had a room of like 600-700 people. And we got about a third of the way through the event, and we lost like 60% of the room. Like they weren't there to support the live auction; they were there to drink and move. So if we had something like along these lines to keep them in the seats because they could potentially win something, that feels like a great way to hold on to your audience.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's
I
done
think that-
throughout the course of the live auction, every 4 or 5 items or something.
I mean, this submission says prior to the live, every 15 minutes prior to the live. So
You
that
don't wanna do it
first
during
2
the live,
hours.
yeah.
But I mean, you could do it during the
You
live.
could do it at the end of the live, but you really don't want anything to.
Or maybe one big prize at the end.
Or you could do it every 5th item, especially if you're slow. If we're
Yeah.
having a hard time getting steam, which we've all felt this
Yeah.
fall. If you're having a hard time getting steam, breaking it up with a raffle draw after item 3, okay, we're gonna draw for the raffle. It re-energizes, gets everybody awake and moving again.
Yeah.
So that you could do that through the auction.
I thought it was a great idea, so
It
I
is.
wanted to share it here. And there was another one that he also shared from a recent event, the Mystery Box Balloon Pop Alternative. Now, Paul,
You
you
saw
know this.
Mystery Box.
You can explain this one, right? Do you understand this one?
I
This is the one with the toy gun.
And you
Maybe.
shoot the balloons.
Well, they've got little binder clips,
Okay.
and they have a playing card in the binder clip to hold it up, right?
Okay.
And then it sounded like I briefly read that on
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah.
You shoot it with a little, like
The toy gun.
A
it
toy
says.
gun.
Yeah.
and you knock over the card that corresponds with the prize.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I like that. So you could like see what prizes are up there, and you're like, oh, I'm going for the Ace of Spades.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Get your hunter in there. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That's awesome. I like that a lot. That's way more fun than just like a random spin.
What about a punch wall?
Oh boy. Like a punch. I saw that this season.
So did
A
I.
punch
It did.
wall would be cool.
They
So
have it.
You're talking about the cups, right? This is where you take solo cups, put tissue paper over the top with rubber bands. You got a wall with a bunch of holes drilled in it, slide them in, and then they
And
knock
pull
through
out
and
your-
grab it out.
Right.
Yeah, so ours was gift card based. So every time you'd punch through one, you'd get a local gift card.
I love that.
Yeah, it worked really well. Like it sold out. I think we had like 300 opportunities. A pretty big ballroom too, but
Yeah.
we sold out.
St. Charles Borromeo does that.
Is that right?
Yep, Willie's Cake.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And it's just a big wooden thing that they built.
Yeah.
It's got holes in it. It's got the little cellophane paper over each of the thing.
Nice.
And of course, it was the booze.
Ah.
Every one of them were high-end
Of course
booze.
it was.
Of
Booze.
course it was.
the gift that keeps on giving.
And then
Yes!
one of them was empty. So you don't want to be that guy. I didn't get anything.
Where'd all the cinnamon
Where
whiskey
did-
go?
Where did?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I got the Pappy
Table
Van Week
six,
going. It's
yeah.
gone.
It's gone.
Gone. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, neato. Well, yeah, it's been a good episode. It's been a good start to our December. The run is not over. We
Nope.
are starting to look at 2024 though, and it's one of those times of the year where we're starting to slow down a little bit and look at what the future has in store, and that's very exciting for me.
Yeah.
We've been on a journey, and we got big plans for next year. We still got a month to kind of slow down and celebrate. So let's not get too quickly into 2024, but.
It'll be a good year.
It's hard to believe.
be a great year.
It's here already.
Yeah, it's
It
going to
is.
be a good
It's
year.
really hard to believe it's here already. I mean, I say the same thing every year, I suppose. But
Give us a shout, though. We can help you put your items together. We can
True.
help you do whatever.
And like, you know, we appreciate the calls coming in. You know, we are seeing, you know, people calling in and saying, hey, we're starting to get back into the fundraising space. You know, it felt like COVID hit. Things got really quiet. We've gone through the fall. And to be honest with you, like the fall has been, what's the best way to describe it? Not as well thought out as the spring has been
I would just call it
for the
bumpy.
last 5 years.
Bumpy.
Well, I mean, it's just an interesting dynamic because things come together so much quicker in the fall than they do in the spring. It feels like the spring, it's like, oh yeah, we got that in 2 months. Let's talk about that. And the fall's like, we got 3 weeks. What do we do? And so if you're out there and you're fundraising in the fall, I know it feels like all you want to do is get to the holidays, but please give some forethought to like how you can do better next year. Just like as a team, we're more than willing to have that conversation. If you want to have it. But yeah, we appreciate you being plugged into this feed in whatever manner you are consuming it, whether it be YouTube, socials, or a podcatcher of some sorts.
Yeah.
and if you have ideas that you think we'd be interested in, feel free to email us or call us and
Yeah.
tell us.
We love talking.
Right?
No, we do. That's what we do.
We like to talk.
We like to talk. Well, we appreciate you being here this week and in the weeks to come. My name is Shelby Stokes.
Kelly Schenfeld, keep your heart open and your vision clear.
Holly, hey, be well and be safe.
And I'm Shelby. Let's go do good. Bye, guys.
You shall be.